From the studios of the Brooklyn College radio station, this is Beyond the Box Score. Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back to Beyond the Box Score. I'm your host, Max. It is an overcast Monday, May 6th, 2024, and I'm here with my incredible co-hosts, Sean and Oscar. How's it going, guys?
It's going good. It's going good.
We're back.
It's going great. I can't complain at all.
Yeah.
We're back and we're in the final stretch.
That's right. You guys have a good spring break?
Went by fast.
Yeah.
So,
Too fast. Well,
sorry.
the first round of the NBA playoffs are officially in the books, and there's a lot to go over. So let's get right into it. First off, we had the series between the Cleveland Cavaliers and the Orlando Magic, and yesterday it went the distance, 7 games.
Mm-hmm.
I thought this would go the distance, to be honest with you.
Yeah.
Look. Donovan Mitchell was incredible. You know, he dropped 50 in that Game 6 loss where he was just the only Cav to score in the fourth quarter.
For 2 games in a row.
Yeah, and then in Game 7, you know, the Cavs were off to a really slow start. The Magic were up by a little bit, and Mitchell, you know, just willed his team to a win, scored 39 in that Game 7. The Cavs did, I don't know if tank is the right word, but they rest their players in the final regular season games with the hopes of getting, you know, securing an easier matchup in this first round. So it would have been a really bad look if they lost the series. But they didn't, you know, and give the Magic credit. They are a really young, talented team. And Banchero is just, that guy's a future superstar.
For the Magic, they're too young, like you said. But it's also they don't have enough offense for the playoffs. They're a great defensive team, but their offense at times was a big question. You see Franz Wagner yesterday going 1 for 15.
Yeah, the shooting outside of
Paolo. It's like I saw him and Jalen Suggs at one point. Him and Franz were combined 3 of 25 yesterday.
Mm-hmm.
That's just bad. If you're like other than one guy not getting any offense, you're not going to win any playoff games. But for the Cavs, like you said, they avoided the Philadelphia 76ers because they easily could have gotten that 2 seed if they won that final game against the Charlotte Hornets. Tanked that game, so now they end up playing the Magic. Get the win, and now we'll see. You know, if this was a first-round loss for the Cavs, it would have been bad. And I feel like now they get to at least postpone some of those questions at least until the second round.
Mm-hmm.
So we'll see how it goes for them against the Boston Celtics.
Yeah. The Cavaliers will play the Boston Celtics. The Celtics, you know, I think, well, most people would agree they are the better team. Even with no Porzingis available, I think they get it done in 5 games.
I think so. I think in 5. So there's going to be that one game where Mitchell goes off.
Yeah, exactly.
I think that's a sweep.
You think it's a sweep?
Yeah,
it's
I don't know.
I think they'll steal 1.
Yeah, I think they'll get 1, but I wouldn't be surprised if it was a sweep either.
And then the Denver Nuggets beat the Los Angeles Lakers in 5 games. I don't think the record of this series really did it justice because you got to give the Lakers credit. I think they fought.
They made games 1 and 2, I believe, very close. Jamal Murray in that game 2 game winner over Anthony Davis.
Yeah. They led multiple times, you know, going into the half, into the fourth quarter. But the Nuggets proved why they were the clear better team. You know, after the Celtics, I think this is the best starting lineup.
In the playoffs because they know what they're getting. And unlike the Celtics, what I could really trust with Denver is that clutch time offense. A lot of those games in the last 5 minutes of the fourth quarter were close against the Lakers, and Jokic and Murray every time down that high pick and roll, getting Aaron Gordon into the action or kicking out to KCP in the corner, you know the Nuggets are going to deliver every time down in the clutch, which is why, like, the Lakers, yes, they kept the series close. They led for 70% of the series, which is insane to think it ending in the gentleman's sweep, but the Nuggets have a championship pedigree. The Lakers roster just isn't good enough.
Yeah, you know, LeBron was LeBron, but the guy's 39 years old.
Yeah.
And there's just, I think Jokic just has a much more well-rounded roster around him, as opposed to the Lakers, who, you know, not so much.
Kind of hurts at this point to see LeBron like drop 39 and still lose, you know, things like that. You know, I don't know. It might be the time to kind of end it. I don't know. I mean, I love LeBron. I hope he plays forever, but.
And this is like the healthiest season the Lakers have gotten from LeBron and AD both.
Exactly.
AD played almost every single game during the regular season. So you just look at that and it's like, well, yeah, if they kind of tanked that game against the Pelicans, they would have played the Thunder, but I think the Thunder would have beaten them too. And what did the Lakers go and do? They not only fired Darvin Ham, they basically
everyone.
fired their entire assistant coaching staff, which
That's
is
right.
absolutely insane.
After 2 seasons, Ham has been fired. You know, they had the Western Conference Finals appearance. They won the in-season tournament, so they had their moments under Ham. But I think most Laker fans are pretty happy about his firing.
I mean, yes, but because he wasn't a good coach, they shouldn't have hired him in the first place. Just shouldn't have fired Frank Vogel to begin with, but that's another story for another day. I just feel like Ham was kind of wrong place, wrong time. This is kind of more of an organizational thing. They're still seeing the consequences of that Russell Westbrook trade because you traded away those key pieces that got you that championship in 2020. You traded that all away for LeBron, AD, Westbrook that didn't work out, and now you're seeing this roster just stuck in the middle of nowhere.
Yeah, and also with LeBron, your championship window is a lot shorter than other teams.
Oh yeah.
And look, it's the Lakers. You know, maybe if this was a different organization, Ham stays a season, maybe 2 seasons more. But you know, you got. I think they just ran into a more well-rounded, better team.
I don't think it's that big of a deal, to be honest. I think just like the Nuggets are just so much better. I mean, maybe not so much better, but they're just clearly the superior team.
Mm-hmm.
Do you guys think it's LeBron's last game in purple and gold?
I think it might be.
LeBron always does this stuff.
It's like
He
he
does,
always
yeah.
teases himself leaving, but he has been giving like aspirations to play with Bronny. But and Bronny has declared for the draft this year also.
That's the other thing. If LeBron kind of forces his way and gets the Lakers to draft Bronny just for him to stay, the Lakers should not do that.
No,
Bronny is
that would
not.
destroy
No.
their future.
No. So it'll be
Um,
interesting.
So the Nuggets, they've already begun their series against the Minnesota Timberwolves, and this series is going to be incredible.
This is going to be a very tough series.
That defense, Anthony Edwards,
And,
went up some
and
home runs
Anthony
on Saturday.
Edwards just casually skywalking to the rim every single play and dropping 43
43 in game one.
games.
Yeah.
The guy's a killer. I think he's turning into one of my favorite players in the
Oh
NBA
yeah,
right now.
yeah, me too.
And he's only 22. He's still on his rookie deal,
Yeah, this
Mhm.
is
which is insane.
It's
I think-
great to see these young players really develop that quickly, but like we've been spoiled with guys like this.
I think he's kind of developing. I think this is. I mean, he was a great player before. Don't get me wrong, but I think this is truly him stepping into the kind of his own as a real star in this league.
Mhm.
I think this season and this play because I don't know. I'm kind of team like regular season doesn't matter. These are the playoffs, and he's been so good, man.
We're going to talk about this later, but I think Brunson, Edwards, and SGA are those guys that are stars right now, but this season has kind of taken them to the next level of, superstardom.
Yeah, certainly. I mean, just look at the way Anthony Edwards interacts with the rest of the Timberwolves. Like he's like one of, if not the youngest guy on the team, and he's everyone's big bro.
Mhm.
Like he's so obviously the
Like
leader.
he's the one hyping
Yeah.
up Karl Anthony
Yeah.
Towns and Mike Conley. Well, Mike Conley has been semi-quiet in the series.
So I want to let everyone else talk, but one thing I did that really impressed me about him that I noticed was I forget what game it was. I don't remember exactly what game it happened in, but like Cat was kind of not playing that great. And at first Anthony Edwards comes over and he like kind of fires him up in a way where he's like, bro, like you're not playing well enough. But then like you see like before he walks away, he catches himself and he like calms himself down and he says to Cat, he's like, we need you to win. Like he's not just, yelling at him for no reason. He's also like encouraging him, which shows, I don't know, that's like kind of like he's using both like the perfect mix of, a hand on the shoulder and a kick up the ass, in like the perfect way. And that's like, leadership above, beyond his years.
Mm-hmm. We're going to talk more about the Timberwolves when we get to the
Yeah.
Timberwolves-Suns series recap in a sec. But real quick, the Dallas Mavericks beat the Los Angeles Clippers in just 6 games. Kawhi missed most of this series and was not really there for the Clippers for the 3rd straight time in the playoffs. James Harden shot awful in their do-or-die game 6, as did Paul George. Look, the Mavs were just a better team, man. Luka didn't even shoot that well, especially in Game 6, but Kyrie was fantastic.
Yeah.
The Mavericks, they're an interesting team. I don't think anyone's really picking them to make it out of the West, but they have a lot of length, that presents a lot of problems defensively with Derek Jones Jr., they made the trade for P.J. Washington, Lively, and you got the 2, superstars in Luka and Kyrie who can go get you a bucket at any time. They're going to be tough out.
No, they absolutely are. And it's going to be interesting because for the Clippers, it's like the one game Kawhi played, they looked absolutely terrible, and then he didn't play. They won a couple of games, and it's like, all right, well, this offense is kind of flowing without Kyrie, without a Kawhi, and then you get to Game 5, and neither Harden nor Paul George show up. So now you're going through another first-round exit, and now next year they're moving into that new arena. So they're going to want to bring all those guys back. But I saw something this morning. I was like, Steve Ballmer does not want to give Paul George the extension, which might lead Paul George on the road of unrestricted free agency.
They got a lot of things to figure it out, man. So they're trying to build around Kawhi, who's just not reliable.
You have
health-wise.
5 years
Yeah.
of team time.
Because you have so much money on the table that's being given out,
Right.
but you don't have that success to back it up. You're like, all right, well, this is what the team could do, this and that. For the Mavs, OKC's an interesting matchup
Yeah.
because Luka likes to slow it down, but they really like to speed the game up, especially SGA. So it'll be interesting to see who controls pace of the game in, game out, and how much they let Luka get, how they guard between Luka and Kyrie.
I'm going to pick the Thunder to take this one, I think.
I think so.
It
too.
might go the distance.
I'm thinking 6, but
6?
yeah, but it could
Okay.
go the
It's
distance.
like the Thunder are a very solid team, very
Yeah.
well-rounded.
Mm-hmm.
They have that superstar, crafty guy in Shea, and Dallas doesn't really have a particular defender to really stop him either.
Right.
Unlike OKC, who's known for their good perimeter defense and solid interior.
I think Jalen Williams and Dort are gonna be a problem for Luka. I don't think they're gonna totally
Yeah.
They're
stifle
gonna
him, but they're
slow
gonna
him
give
down
him a
a
lot of
lot.
problems. I think.
I can see this going to the Thunder in 6 or 7.
Yeah. I think people are kind of underrating the Thunder against the Mavs a little bit.
I think so. I mean, it's just the age. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
Being a
yeah.
little ageist.
Yeah, a little bit, but also other than Kyrie, does anyone on the Mavs I guess they have playoff experience, but
It's like
they didn't want anything.
I don't know.
Yeah, but they have
Luka
solid
can
role
erupt.
players.
They're definitely. But whenever I hear people talk about the playoff experience, I don't know how many series is Luka's won some series, but
he's been to a conference final.
he's been to a conference final. But
He's destroyed.
I don't know if
he's
I'm
made
ready
a
to
franchise cry a couple times.
I don't know if I'm willing to just be
Phoenix
I'm not going to talk about them like I talk about the Nuggets. You know what I mean? Personally.
It's one of those things. We have such a young, talented team in the Thunder. It reminds me of the 2012 Thunder when they were that young and that good.
Mm-hmm.
But we have an almost in his prime Luka averaging 33, 9 and 9, and a Kyrie who's finally locked in and committed to playing well.
And they have better guys around him now than
But
before.
it's I don't, and we saw the commitment those guys have, like PJ Washington kind of stepping in between him and Russell Westbrook and Luka when he started getting hot, and Daniel Gafford is putting a lot of effort in there to get the rebounds and block shots. It's nice to see all this effort for a team finally built around Luka that can potentially win, but I feel like they need that one extra piece at the 3.
We'll see. It's going to be a fun series. The Indiana Pacers beat the Milwaukee Bucks in 6 games. The Bucks, of course, did not have Giannis and Dame for most of their series. Chris Middleton, he played some hero ball for them at times, but there was really no chance the Bucks would win this series, missing Dame and Giannis. Look, the Pacers are really, really fantastic offensively.
They're good.
They like to run. They're really dangerous in transition, man. They really are. Halliburton is a star, and Siakam, this has been an amazing acquisition for them. He is their true number 2 option. And then, they shoot a lot of threes. TJ McConnell is just a menace. This was a good series, but I think that it all got overshadowed by what happened to Patrick Beverley.
Yeah, that whole
the
whole drama right at the end of the season with his post-game press conference.
Yeah, so apparently they were in a team huddle, and a fan heckled something at them. Do you guys know exactly what it was?
No, I thought you were talking about something else after that.
Oh, with the reporters?
Yeah.
Well, before that,
Yeah.
he got into some argument with a fan, and then he threw a ball at the fan, and it hit a woman in the face next to him. And then the guy threw the ball back at Beverly, just like, what the hell was that? And then Beverly threw it right back at him pretty aggressively. And so that's obviously something that you don't want. And then afterwards, Beverly, he's in the locker room having the post-game interview, and he asks a ESPN reporter if she's subscribed to his
Right.
podcast.
Because she went to ask him a question.
Yeah.
And he goes, "You subscribe to my podcast." She goes, like, "No, sir, I'm not answering your question."
I'm not answering your question. And then he tells her to put the mic away.
Yeah.
You can't even get any of this stuff.
And as
is
a
Pat
result, he
Bev's
was
pod-
banned from ESPN.
I think that was falsely reported.
Was it?
Yeah.
Go ahead, Oscar.
Is Pat Bev's podcast even like a top 10 NBA player podcast? Like,
It's
not
probably-
even basketball podcast, but like
It's
player
associated with
podcast?
Barstool, so it
Probably
might
up
be.
there,
But
Because he gets the media for it, but
yeah.
I don't know.
It's ridiculous.
Like I don't think it's. I don't know. I'm kind of tired of him. It's like, man, you're not even that. I don't even think you're.
And
like, I
apparently
don't-
he did it every like throughout the season. He did it to pretty much every reporter.
I'm sure. Yeah. I mean, it's. Yeah, I don't know. He's just trying to hype up his. I don't know, his media career, or whatever. Which I don't know. I don't think he is a very. Just me personally, I don't think he's an interesting media person. He was never a very good player, except for one game against who was it that he played good defense on that like one time? Was it like James Harden or something, or Steph Curry? I kind of forget. I don't even remember. And now
I think it was KD.
yeah, it was KD, and then KD like cooked him the next game. It was when he played for the
The
Clippers.
2019.
Yeah, yeah.
Mm-hmm. So yeah, man. Congrats to the Pacers. Moving on to play the Knicks. We're gonna talk about that. Preview that series.
I think you guys are a
little
little bit hotter on the Pacers than I am. I'm not gonna lie.
We might be. I think there are a lot of Knicks fans right now who are immediately looking towards the Celtics.
Yeah.
You know, are immediately looking towards the conference finals. I think that's a mistake.
the concern with the Pacers is defense, but we'll get to that when
Yeah.
we
Yeah. We'll talk
Mhm.
about that later.
So the Boston Celtics beat the Miami Heat in 5 games. The Heat, of course, were without Jimmy Butler. I really don't even think they're a playoff team without
Jimmy Butler, Terry Rozier, and then they
Rozier.
lost Jaime Jaquez for that
During the
last
series,
game.
yeah. Even like they were able to snatch a game
That game,
because
too.
Spoelstra was amazing. The shooting that game was unreal. But you must be feeling pretty good.
I mean, the interesting, obviously, Boston was going to win this series. That game 5, they came out in that first quarter and just killed them right away.
Mm-hmm.
Like, they gave Miami no shot to even punch back to make it even a competitive game. And at that point, like, you could tell the Celtics team is kind of, like, over them.
Mm-hmm.
Kind of sick of hearing, like, oh, Miami this, Miami that. Miami always has their number, this and that. And yes, Jimmy Butler wasn't there. It would have been a much more competitive series if he was. But for Boston just to kind of get rid of them and now move on, it's good. You know, I don't want them to have that competitive first round series that goes to like 6 or 7 games. You know, that's
Right.
meant for like later on in the playoffs.
They
Mhm.
needed that. I think this was
Yeah.
a statement win for them.
Yeah.
You know, they needed to win this series convincingly.
Especially after that Game 2 double-digit loss. I saw some Celtic fans shaking, like a little bit nervous
Mm-hmm.
about like because
Oh, yeah, we watched that game, right, Sean?
We did, yeah. There was that one.
Yeah. Damn.
When they made, because they made that 23rd three, was it, of the night?
Yeah,
and
and they
saw,
broke a team record.
yeah,
for
and I
three-pointers
saw,
made.
I only saw Boston was down like 5. I was
Yeah.
like, honestly, like that game is kind of like an outlier
It happens.
compared to the rest of the
Yeah.
series.
Yeah.
So whatever, and then Boston came out next 3 games. Just
They
took care of
asserted
them.
their dominance,
Yeah.
finally proved, like finally showing like they are the best team in the league, or
Mhm.
the best
Yeah.
team in the East at least. And it's like finally getting rid of that, like that giant heavy backpack that they've been carrying for the past 4 years.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah, and Spoelstra, you know, he's amazing, but he can only do so much as a head coach.
Yeah, I think that. I don't know. I remember. I think it was Tyler Hero was like,
Mhm.
"Oh, you know, it could have gone a different way." I was like, "No, it couldn't. have.
No.
You guys aren't good enough," and that's okay.
Yeah.
Like, you know, I think. I don't know. This isn't a Heat podcast, but I don't know. I think the Heat might be in a bit of an odd situation where, because they had those injuries in this series, the management might be like, "Oh, we can just run it back with this
Well-
team," and I don't think they can.
Hold on. Did you guys see that Pat Riley quote this morning?
No,
Oh,
I didn't. What
yes.
happened?
When he basically said about Jimmy Butler, because remember Game 3, he was like, "Oh, Miami, we're feeling to go up 2-1,
Right.
and then Boston killed them."
Mhm.
Pat Riley basically said, "Is like if you're not playing, don't talk."
Yeah.
Mhm.
So kind of like
I
a
like
direct
that.
shot of Jimmy Butler. So now, I don't know. I feel like it's kind of the end of Jimmy in Miami.
I think so. It's. I
I-
mean, he's 34, right?
Yeah. Look, they got to 2
He's getting
NBA.
up there.
They got to 2 NBA finals.
And one of them
With-
nobody was expecting.
which
It was both of them actually.
but both
nobody,
of them, both of
nobody
them,
was
both of them.
expecting.
So it's interesting. I feel like Jimmy took them as far as he can, and I think this is going to be the end of Jimmy in Miami. It's only a matter of time.
It's probably the smart thing to do.
Yeah.
Yeah, I agree that's the correct decision to do, but let's see if they actually do that. I mean, Miami's one of the best run organizations in the league, so.
They have all these rookies that they get the most out of every season.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
And those like diamonds in the rough, undrafted guys and G League guys that they managed to turn into.
Duncan Robinson.
Duncan Robinson, Caleb Martin especially.
But I think
Nobody
it's
was expecting him.
Miami attracts free agents too, so
Yeah,
I don't
Miami's
think it's
one
going
of
to
the
be
bigger
that hard.
markets.
They'll get somebody, and
And
especially
maybe-
to pair with Bam.
Maybe they'll get Donovan Mitchell.
Maybe.
yeah.
Perhaps.
Kevin Durant.
Yeah.
All right. You ready to move on?
Yeah.
Okay, so the Thunder swept the Pelicans pretty easily.
Mhm.
I feel like we all forgot the series happened because it
Yeah.
felt like it lasted
Yeah.
5 minutes, and the Thunder have been off for like a month now.
It was weird because that first game was so back and forth close.
hmm
And I'm like, Thunder might be in a little trouble here. Maybe the Pelicans could push them a little bit.
Just playing
And
with their
then-
food.
And then
They just went pedal
games
to the
2 to
metal.
4, they just took care of business. I'm like,
Yeah.
all right.
It was nice to see Zion have like a pretty healthy season.
Mhm.
They look good with him out there.
especially in that playing game.
But
against
he was
the
great.
Lakers.
He was great in that playing game.
Yeah.
He was fantastic. That
Oh,
was the best
yeah.
game he probably had in his whole career.
hmm
It just it's so like unfortunate to see that kind of injury after he played so well finally. Like he was finally living up to those expectations we've had for the past 4 years.
I mean, just with a guy like that, the only thing that could ever really stop him is his own body. It's just like, yeah.
hmm
It's like,
the Thunder are fantastic.
Oh yeah.
I mean,
I feel like we just kind of touched on them.
we
a
did,
little bit.
but we talked about Shea a little bit. Jalen Williams, I mean, he can be like a true number 2 on a championship team in my mind.
Chet Holmgren already a defensive force. Mark
Mhm.
Dagnall won Coach of the Year.
hmm
Congrats to him. This is just a well-run organization. They went young, and now it's finally starting to pay off. It's
Mhm.
just now it's about do you want to keep using your draft picks, or do you want to cash it in for a bigger piece?
That's right.
And put that bigger piece in.
And Sam Presti, dude. I mean, it's hard to get a better general
He knows what
manager.
he's doing.
All those draft picks. All right. The Timberwolves swept the Phoenix Suns.
The Suns now have 3 fathers: Nikola Jokic,
Yeah.
Luka Doncic, and Anthony Edwards.
I mean, the Suns, man. It's a pretty bleak future that they have right now. Bradley Beal was not great in this series, and he has a no trade clause in his contract. So if you want to break up the big 3,
It's gonna have to be Booker or KD.
it's not going to be Booker. It
It's
has
gonna have
to be KD.
And
Yeah.
It can't be what's his name? It can't be
It can't be Bradley Beal
'Cause
because
he has
no one's
no
going to want
trade.
that contract.
Yeah.
And it's like
He also has the no trade clause.
Oh,
so he
yes,
can
'cause-
veto anything.
Because the Suns are dumb and didn't get rid of it.
Exactly. Yeah. I didn't know that until a week or 2 ago after
Dude,
they got swept.
You know what's crazy? I thought they got rid of it.
Me too, man.
And then someone brought it up on Twitter, and I'm like, oh, they still have it, and his contract is $50 million, and so now you look at KD and Booker. Where else is KD gonna go?
I think
Like,
he's running out of
and
places.
who's gonna willingly give up like a few first-round picks and valuable role players for him?
because speaking
right
of,
now?
someone was like, oh, maybe he could go back to OKC. OKC's not doing that. OKC's not trading
No,
away
it's just
Jay
like
on
this-
piece for KD.
I
Also,
mean,
they don't love. I feel like they don't love Kevin like they do
Russ.
Westbrook.
Right, yeah, because
especially
KD kind
the
of
way
them.
he left.
Yeah.
Mhm.
yeah.
It's just like the Suns are in a terrible situation right now.
I think other than maybe the very worst teams in the NBA, I don't know if there's a team I'd least like to be in charge of other than the Suns, because they're in trouble.
They're locked in I believe it is $413 million between the 3 of them,
Mhm.
and they have no first-round picks until 2030.
That's right. Not a lot of draft capital.
Oh, boy.
They don't have a dominant big man. They aren't a deep team at all. You
They
invest all
traded
your
all their
resources.
depth for Kevin Durant.
Yeah, exactly.
It's like they went big, they got
Mhm.
shot in the leg, and now they have to wobble all the way home.
And they're
Sounds
lucky
very
they weren't
similar
playing.
to what happened to a team in Brooklyn.
Yeah.
Unfortunately,
Oh, they're probably gonna get rid of Frank Vogel sometime this week too.
it's like that's another thing. Did they give a defensive-minded coach an
That's-
offensive-heavy
yeah.
team? And according to, and I believe I saw, nobody was really willing to listen to him. Kevin
No.
Durant has said something about, oh, I'm not comfortable in this offense. They've relegated me to the corner. That's what happens when you get three ball-dominant
yeah.
guys.
Mhm.
One of
And-
you's going to be relegated to the corner. It
And
just
you don't
happened
even
again.
know who your point guard is. You have no real.
You have
point
no,
guard.
and they have no point guard. They have no real facilitator.
Yeah, I'm not as harsh on Frank Vogel as I saw some people being,
Yeah,
just because.
it's not his fault. No.
Yeah, no
Most
coach
of
can
it's
do
not his
that.
fault.
No
It's like-
coach can really get
Those
the most out of those players because they're all, especially Booker and KD, they want to take the same shots. They're like mid-range, experts. And the basketball court is not very big, and if you're three,
especially with 10 people. On
yeah,
it,
and three starters,
that
and,
need the ball in their hand to be effective.
and they want to shoot from the same place. That's just not really going to happen. It's really hard to coach that.
Mhm.
You kind of can't.
That's right. Well,
Sun setting in Phoenix.
The
the
sun
sun
set
is in
2
Phoenix.
years ago.
Very well said. Well, let's finally get to the New York Knicks.
Some glorious New York basketball.
That's right. The
My
New York
goodness.
Knicks defeated the Philadelphia 76ers
What a
in
series.
6 amazing games.
Or I think it was the most entertaining series of the first round.
Oh, absolutely.
I think
Yes.
it was.
The game sealer from Dante DiVincenzo, the
Classic.
76ers continuing to leave Josh Hart open
Huh.
after he cooked them three
Or-
times.
Or basically the game 5, which is the inverse of game 2,
Mhm.
where it's like yeah, the Knicks are about to wrap up the
Tyrese
series,
Maxey
and
with that
Maxey-
logo
Yeah.
3, sending
Just-
that to overtime.
Embiid being a complete crybaby all series.
Mhm.
And-
I-
and
I-
potentially-
We're gonna talk about it all.
I don't know. I'd push back on that, but
Okay, so many storylines, so many fantastic jaw-dropping moments in this series. Let's start with the Sixers side before we move on to the Knicks. Joel Embiid was, he was playing through some injuries. It's clear that he was really limited because of the surgery that he had.
And he was having some knee problems throughout the series.
That's
He-
right.
He got tripped up a few times and kept grabbing at it.
And then it came out, it may have been after game 2 that he had an issue with his eye. I forgot the name of
he has
it.
Bell's palsy,
Bell's
which is
palsy, yeah.
when half
Yeah.
of your face,
Which is like
us.
half of your face
Right.
is basically
Yeah.
like can't
numb.
move.
You
Yeah.
can't move it. at
Right.
all.
So he was soldiering through it, and he was still fantastic for the majority of the games. He had a 50-point game 3 and a must-win. He averaged 30 points per game this series, but you really kind of saw the injuries, and I guess kind of his responsibility weigh on him in that fourth quarter of how just gassed he
And I
was.
saw, real quick, I saw
Yeah.
a statistic somewhere that in 21% of Joel Embiid's game 4s in the playoffs, he has not scored a field goal.
Hmm.
Not attempted, not scored. It's just like, but then that's where Maxey comes in.
Mhm.
Maxey's been invaluable to the Sixers.
Yeah, no, this was a real. I mean, he was really good. I thought
This was his coming out party.
Yeah, I thought he was a really
Yeah.
good player last year. I thought I saw a lot of potential in him, but this year he's he's an all-star
blossomed.
caliber
Yeah,
player.
Mhm.
he isn't all. Him winning most improved player still made no sense, but
Yeah, that's
You could have made an argument for
Yeah.
him. There's like there was definitely an argument there, but to see him win it, it's cool to see him win it. But it's just like,
Yeah.
should he really have won it?
I feel like that's not what that award is for.
Yeah.
you know.
Yeah.
But
that's
whatever.
what like
yeah.
Kobe like. But
That like hope that's like the thing with John Morant last year when
Yeah.
he won it, or like 2 years ago when he won it.
Mhm.
But yeah, where do we start?
I wanted to take a minute to talk about the dirty plays because that really stood out to me in this series. I mean, from kneeing Hardenstein in the nuts to kicking Mitchell Robinson in the nuts
And
to
grabbing him
So
down,
pulling him
grabbing
down, yeah.
him by the legs and
like-
pulling him
like,
down
and,
while he
like,
was in the air.
palming Jalen Brunson in the face.
Yep.
yeah,
Should have been a flagrant 2 on that
Should've been
Robinson
ejected.
play. I already did not like Embiid because of kind of the whole flopping
Mhm.
style to his game. But this just even made it kind of more pathetic to watch. And I kind of wish, I don't know if this is me being a little bit of an asshole, but I kind of wish that Hardenstein or OG, like one of the enforcers of this Knicks team, kind of gave him like a little, like
Kind of something
a
in
cheap
return,
shot.
yeah.
Well,
You know what I mean?
I think OG made
Well,
New York
OG
very
yeah,
happy with
Yeah,
that.
OG
yeah.
dumped on him.
Well,
man.
yeah, exactly.
Also, I don't know.
That's enough.
I don't know how big I don't really care how big you are. Like I wouldn't want to fight Joel Embiid.
No,
Like,
but
don't
I
know,
mean,
even
if
with
the
how
guy's
big
kinda-
they are.
potentially cost it's gonna cost a series. Like that was
Exactly.
smart. Like OG.
That's not what you do when you're winning. That's
Yeah.
what you do when you're losing.
Oh, like OG with that poster though.
Yeah,
Mhm.
That was some beautiful stuff right there.
I think that was kind of the perfect kind of revenge you'd want, right?
Mhm.
I don't know.
No, yeah, I think it all ended well, very nicely.
What,
ending their
oh,
season
sorry.
and stuff.
My bad.
Go ahead.
Yeah. So what I will say, I don't know. I definitely wouldn't consider myself
I'm definitely certainly not a Philly fan, and
Mhm.
I would definitely not.
I don't know. I think like out of everyone in the station, I probably like him the most, even though I wouldn't consider myself a fan of his either. But I'm not as much of a Joel Embiid hater as most people are.
It's not
my
hate,
thing
it's
is,
annoyance.
I feel you. Yeah, like
Yeah.
also like I'm not gonna lie. Like maybe, and I don't know. I love basketball, but like especially towards the end of basketball games, this is like my only problem really with the game basketball. Everyone starts flopping after 2 minutes, and they just try and go to the line. But I don't know. I think Embiid was kind of in a damned if you do, damned if you don't thing because the team came out and said, "Oh, there's nothing." I think the word they used structural, like
There's no structural damage.
Exactly. So like,
on the knee, right?
it's not like his leg would fall off. So they basically, when they're saying that, they're saying, "Oh, he can play until he feels like he's hurting too much." So he's kind of in the position where, you know, I'm like, I'll never. Like if he was actually trying to kick dudes in the nuts and hurt people, like I'll never condone that, obviously. But in terms of like going to the line a lot, I think the fact that he had to be a warrior and play through so much pain and meant he had to kind of go out like a sucker in some cases. Which I mean, like I said, I'm not a Philly fan, so I'm not like crying about it. But like I think that some people are being a little bit unfair to him because I think this was not the usual case of, oh, he's too hurt or, oh, he disappears. Like, he was really good this series. Like, without him, Philly gets swept.
Well, yes, but also he was good, but it didn't. At stretches, he felt like he had a true impact of the game, but not for like the entire game. You know what I mean?
Oh, yeah, no, I definitely agree. I just think,
It's just
for me, that's more of Daryl Morey's fault for taking the whole summer doing all that James Harden nonsense instead of, like, he should have just traded Harden in the beginning if that was the case.
I was going to touch on that. You know, you guys were talking about Maxey.
Because it wasn't Philly's stars that let them down. It was the bench players.
Right.
Like if Embiid and Maxey played as, I think,
Tobias Harris.
yeah, exactly. Tobias Harris and
Kelly
Kyle
Oubre had a
Lowry.
very good series.
he was
To be
good.
fair, he
Yeah.
had a very good series.
Oh no, Oubre was good, but I feel like he was more good like defensively.
Yeah.
It's
you
like
know?
he got a lot of those clutch steals.
Yeah,
Got
exactly.
those fast break buckets.
And I think, like, I don't know, I think Maxey and Embiid played as well as you would want from your two stars. It's just,
and Maxey excelled.
yeah, oh yeah.
No, nobody. I wasn't expecting.
And
this.
Maxey and Embiid with one another have such a great 1-2 punch that it works well.
That pick and roll that
Yeah.
Giannis and Dame should be doing.
They don't. We should ask Doc Rivers. He doesn't know either. But it's interesting because a lot of like what Philly's problems come from Tobias Harris, come from Paul Reed too. Like a lot of those minutes that Embiid rested, all the Knicks would do is just drive to the rim and get 3 points.
Mm-hmm.
Every time Embiid
There
sat.
was a quote from Paul Reed himself before the series started, or it was before the series started, or after Game 1.
It was before.
That they wanted to face the Knicks
That's right.
because they were the easier team.
Mm-hmm.
And to get dismantled like that by each and every single starter, he should not be speaking to anybody ever again.
Mm-hmm. I am not a very big Philadelphia sports fan. I'm willing to admit that. But it is really impossible to hate on Tyrese Maxey. I think James Harden leaving was the best thing that this could happen
to him
this organization.
specifically. It
Yeah,
gives him-
because if Harden was going to be the primary point guard, it would have completely stunted his growth. So now that he and Embiid are there, they can run the offense through them.
And
Maxey's
proven he can carry that offense just a little bit when Embiid needs time off.
Mm-hmm.
Because and to see him honestly destroy New York in that overtime, and like him blitzing Hartenstein every chance he got,
Oh yeah.
blitzing and just casually pulling up from three.
Dude,
in
I mean,
two
he
people's
misses that
face.
logo 3, their season's over.
It's like he's like nobody
Or
was
Mitchell
expecting this.
Robinson for no reason just coming up way too close to him and into his landing
Right.
space. It's
Yeah.
like
That
there's no
was
reason to do
that was just an unfortunate
Yeah.
timing.
Yeah. I think, sorry, do you want to say something?
No, go.
but-
I'd say, like, I don't know, it's funny, actually, I know, like, it's hopefully, you better watch my goddamn show. There's at least one Philly fan who watches this show. And I'll say, as much as I love making fun of all you guys, I think the future's not that bad for the Sixers. Like, I think
Especially with Maxey. now.
if I'm, this is just, I was just
It's
thinking
not.
about this on my way here. If I'm Daryl Morey, I think you got to look at it like, we can maybe not like totally trade every draft pick or whatever, but I think these next 2 to 3 years, you got to go in with Embiid because he's not going to be around for much longer. Keep Embiid and Maxey as the 1-2 punch, and I'd say maybe go in for say a Paul George or something, or like a bunch of guys this summer, and then just get the because right now, if you ask me, like I think you could, as long as they're healthy, I think you could go on a playoff run with Embiid and Maxey. You just need role players and good supporting cast around them.
Yep.
You can, but it's like, it's also tough because when you, like Buddy Hield this whole series,
Yeah.
the first 5 games
He was
had,
a
had,
dark horse.
had a total of 2 points.
Mhm.
In the first half of Game 6, he had 17. It's like, so it's like like.
And
role
with all those
players,
hustle
yeah.
plays too.
Role players either show up or don't in the playoffs, so that's what makes it hard getting guys like role players. But Oscar, you're right. They need to keep Embiid and Maxey. They owe it to Embiid to at least try, even though they wasted the last 10 years going through the process and never made it to conference finals. One thing they do have to do this summer is get rid of Tobias Harris.
Yeah, I mean he's gone,
Oh, yeah,
and they're gonna have a ton of cap space too,
yes.
so they could
They
go out and
Especially
get
after
it.
freeing
They do
him
have
up.
a
And Maxey's
yeah.
still on his rookie deal, I'm
Well,
pretty
no,
sure.
even Maxey's he's a restricted free agent, and
Yeah.
obviously they're going
They're
to
gonna
match
resign.
every
resign.
They're
deal.
gonna
Yeah.
match whoever decides
but-
to try.
Other than everyone is a free agent except for like Embiid.
Yeah.
Like so, this might be the most important offseason in the history of 76ers history.
I'd bring back Oubre, and I don't know how the market is going to be in terms of finding like a third star for them,
Mhm.
but
This year is not very deep
No.
for the free
Yeah.
agency class. Like you got like D'Lo in there.
You say
DeRozan.
It's an interesting.
PG maybe, but it's like he's been on the decline for
true,
a few
but
years.
if Paul George is your 3,
that's not
like,
it's
you
not
know-
bad.
No,
That's
it's
great.
not. No,
That's not
that's
bad.
but it's just they just have to make it work. Paul George is definitely leaving too.
yeah,
Yeah.
I think the Clippers would be silly to keep him around.
It's like, and he's basically wasted 5 years of his career in LA
Yeah.
to get, for the most, getting a conference finals, just to
Yeah.
get decimated.
I think if I'm Philly, I either like kind of get like give PG like the contract he'll want, and then get like one or like a few other role players, bring back like Oubre and stuff, or say instead of a PG, bring in like DeMar DeRozan or
Like a
someone, and then
combo
like
guard.
or just then just spread the money out. So like that way, it's just like instead of having another guy who can give you 20 to 30 points, just have a bunch of guys who could
Give
give
you
you
10,
10 to 15, 20, yeah.
and give you like valuable defense on the
Exactly.
other
Because I don't know. I mean, like, look, and I don't know. I know people around the station are gonna hate me for like talking this positive about Philly, but I'll tell you what, man. I'd much rather be the Sixers than the Bucks,
That
with
is-
Doc Rivers as the coach and like aging core. To be honest, that's just me.
That's-
I think that's a fair point.
That is.
To me, Philly are still a top 4 team in the East.
Hmm.
Like, and I think
With
with
fully healthy, yes.
yeah, and with some good additions,
Potentially top 3.
yeah, with some good additions, like I think they could beat. They could have beat the Knicks in the series now. So like I don't know. I think try and lock in with Embiid for the next 2 to 3 years, and when that's over, championship or no, start phasing him out, and then build the team around Maxey.
Solid plan.
Oh, I just want to talk about one more quick thing.
Yeah.
The New York invasion of Philly.
Oh yeah,
That was so much fun to watch.
Mhm.
After that game, like Embiid is like, oh, I love New York, or just like it wasn't cool, and they did that.
Mm-hmm.
And then the Sixers owner buys 6,000 tickets
Yeah.
to keep them out.
yeah. My friend was at Game 6 in Philly.
Oh,
And
really?
he said, he said it was like super hostile and stuff. He said it was fun. But oh crap, what was I gonna say? Yeah, no, I keep telling people, man, I'm like, dude, it's so expensive to live in New York. Just even things that like someone will say, oh, in my city, this is expensive. It's blah 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 dollars. I'm like, that's not expensive at all. Like we spend so much money here. Like and not everyone, but like the average person in New York makes more money than the average person in Philadelphia for sure. Like that's 110% a fact. So like we can just like New Yorkers, we'll just pay more money because like even like I don't know like what's like the cheaper tickets in Philly, it's still expensive, but it's like 200 or something. The cheapest tickets in New York are like over $400.
Yeah.
Well, I
It's-
also think just New Yorkers travel well. You saw it all season long when
Mhm.
Brunson would
Like,
go
they
to the
went
free throw
everywhere.
line.
Yeah.
You'd see at least one Nick jersey in
Yeah.
the crowd.
Yeah, you would hear MVP chants.
MVP chance when he's at
when,
the line.
When Brunson gets a line. Knick fans do travel well.
It's also not far.
No,
Right,
It's like
Yes.
Philly's like what, a 2
Hour
hour,
and a half.
hour and a half,
hour
2
and a
hour
half,
drive.
2 hours over Jersey. Yeah. So it's interesting because it's interesting to see like what's next for Philly. Obviously, Embiid's still going to be there. Maxey's still going to be there. But what's the rest of the roster going to look
It's
like?
like they need that soft reboot.
You need to at least build up this team again.
If they
somewhat.
had to keep anybody from this roster, it has to be Kelly Oubre. Like he's proven
Yeah.
himself in this
Yeah.
series that he's a valuable piece in a championship team.
I agree. Maybe see what's good with like Malik Monk
It's like
as a
maybe
backup.
campaign too, because he's that crafty veteran point guard that they kind of
I
he
guess.
played okay. It's like he at least didn't flop like Kyle Lowry did when Embiid was the one who pushed him.
Gave him some good minutes. All right, we're gonna see what the Sixers do this offseason, but without further ado, let's move on to the Knicks.
Yeah, what people are here for.
That's right. Jalen Brunson, he had a slow start.
The king of
He's
New
kind
York.
of finding what worked for him in those first 2 games, and then it all clicked. 40-plus points in 3 consecutive games. He hunted for his matchups. He was magic, dude. I mean, knocking down threes, driving to the basket, getting and ones. His court vision, his passing were elite this series. And before you guys, I want to give you guys a stat before you go. There are 3 players in NBA
Oh, I
history
saw
who
this.
have recorded 4 consecutive games of 35-plus points and 5-plus assists. It's LeBron James, Michael Jordan, and Jalen Brunson. It's a pretty good list to be on. I think this is the playoff run that ascends him from a star into a superstar.
Especially in New York, like he's in arguably the biggest market possible.
For this to happen, yeah.
For this to happen, this is everything a Knicks fan has dreamed of.
Mm-hmm.
Like even if we honestly, I'd be happy with just going to the conference finals and having the chance. But if we go to the finals, it's going to be a stampede in the city.
Mm-hmm.
It's gonna be fun to be outside, man.
Absolutely.
It already kind of is, man. This is something I'm not used to. The Knicks being good when the weather is nice is not something that's
And
like.
by the way, that also correlating with the Rangers being good at the
Let's
same
go
time.
Rangers. Let's
So-
go
Exactly.
Rangers. And the Hurricanes owner did the same thing with the Rangers. He bought tickets to give to
Yeah.
Hurricanes fans to keep the Rangers away.
Oh my gosh.
It's also New York's getting so expensive. You see a bunch
Yeah.
of New Yorkers move to Philly, Carolina, and stuff like that.
I'm pretty sure a
man.
Carolina ticket is less than $100.
Right.
So it's like that's a
That's-
Rangers fan's dream.
That's because they get to go in the cheap market, like we talked about.
Cheap parking, cheap seating, cheaper food.
It's
It's
not
fantastic.
far. It's a 1-day commute, so
Mhm.
you might as well, instead of paying $400 to be in the nosebleeds at MSG.
It's just my god, the king of New York,
Yeah.
man. My
Mhm.
goodness.
But-
And he had help too.
And he's
Josh
like,
Hart improved his 3-point shooting from the
Josh
regular season.
Hart, my god. After game 1, they were letting him shoot. Like he was cooking them on the 3. He closed the game with that last 3-pointer.
Mm-hmm.
And then he's out rebounding every center on the court. I believe he was averaging 17 points, I believe 12 rebounds, and 4 assists, or 4 or 5 assists, 43% from 3. And he hit, I forget if it was game 2 or game 3, because Dante was game 2. Game 3 when he hit another clutch 3 to go to lead them up 1, and then Maxey hit the center court because
That was
Tyrese Maxey.
game 5.
Yeah.
It was game 5?
Yeah.
Sorry. But it's like Josh Hart is invaluable to this team also. He was the X factor of this team. Him and Don, like,
No, he's the Robin.
Mm-hmm.
like he was the Robin to Jalen's Batman. And
I think
guess
every championship team needs an energy guy, and,
That's what
and
Josh
Hart
Hart
is.
is.
Hart
I
is.
guess Dante is what, Alfred? Like, he was just like,
Yeah.
he was part like
Don-
that Villanova trio.
Dante
Yeah.
too. Dante also had like a slow start to the series.
Yeah, but
the
then
first couple of games,
once he hit
Picked
one,
it up.
it was like fire. Like
Yeah.
he was just on fire the rest of the series.
That used to be their home court, no?
No,
Doesn't-
Philly was.
Doesn't Phil? Yeah, that's what
Yeah.
doesn't.
I saw.
Villanova play?
There was
Temple,
one,
yeah.
There was an and one in Philly. Jalen Brunson hit it, and he's just walking, and then you see him look up, and it's like, what the fuck is he looking at? He's looking at the Villanova
Yeah,
championship
yeah.
banners.
Yeah.
It's like this used to be his city,
Yeah,
and now he's
exactly.
owning New York.
That's right.
It's
Um,
crazy.
What was it going? Yeah, no, because I saw the Sixers. That's kind of what we were talking about earlier with like they don't have depth because they were like, all right, we got to double up on Brunson, and when you do that, you leave Hart open for the
And then you
three.
leave Dante.
Or Dante,
open.
yeah, and that was just.
And then Hartenstein was another
Oh.
really good player in this series.
I don't know if he'll be on the next year because someone's going to pay him this offseason.
Yeah.
It was like with that little push floater he did, which was honestly inaccurate sometimes. But when he hit it, when it mattered, it was good. It was really good.
Mm-hmm. Deuce
Yeah.
McBride. It's turned into
Oh.
a fan favorite. Some amazing moments, knocking down big shots throughout the series.
That beautiful rainbow 3.
I
Mhm.
will say quickly with Brunson. I think with this series, the way it went, like the way the fans have gravitated around him, I think he has officially passed Carmelo Anthony
Ooh, wow.
as
Wow.
as a Knick. Yeah,
I mean, what he's done to the city, it feels. I don't think that's an understatement. I feel like what he's done, just the way that this team in particular has kind of embraced the New York City culture of
like scrappy, like hard-working defense,
gritty. It's very easy to connect to Brunson as a leader.
and
with his team.
he's a tri-state kid. He's from Jersey, I think.
I think so.
He's
Yeah.
from Philly,
Yeah.
isn't he?
I know. I think he was born in Jersey and probably raised.
Oh, okay. Oh, yeah.
Like, and he's one of us.
I know he grew up in a few places because his dad was
His
in
dad, his Rick Brunson played.
but he was born in New Jersey, and I don't know, but he went to high school in Illinois. But hey, whatever.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know.
Deuce
I
McBride-
think he's. Oh, sorry, I didn't interrupt you.
No,
but I
okay.
think he's got a little ways to go before we can talk about him eclipsing.
well, like
Melo.
1 or 2 more
I mean,
years of this.
But I'm not even like
Yeah.
a real. I'm not like a Knicks fan. I didn't grow up like watching every Knicks games. I wouldn't front like that.
I just
so.
think like what this team has done, it means so much more to New York than what that 2012-2013 team
Oh,
did.
definitely. This team is leaps and bounds
Yeah.
among them. But I mean, like, Melo was playing next to like I don't know, man. Melo.
like Tyson, like that 1 year at Tyson.
Yeah, we
Chandler,
had. He was like maybe Melo's
39-year-old Jason Kidd.
Steve Novak. I don't know. I just feel like
Steve
Melo
Novak
was.
good.
He was good, but
Like,
like
we got insanity during that time.
Tyson Chandler, yeah.
It's this only won Defensive Player of the Year.
Yeah.
Pretty sure. 2015.
yeah. Tyson Chandler was a beast.
Or 2012. Sorry.
But I don't know. Actually, that's a good. We should put that on Instagram. Let's make a poll. I don't know.
2024 or 2013.
No, or Brunson or Melo. Who's going to mean more to the fans once they're done playing?
If Brunson, if this is what we get from Brunson for the next let's say 3 to 4 years, he's going to be leaps and bounds.
Oh yeah, definitely. I mean, if he can lead them to big playoff success, then yes.
It's
Right.
like if hopefully we make it to the conference finals this year. If we get another conference finals and potentially a finals appearance, it's over.
I also feel like that's also like a test of like who's actually been following the Knicks for longer this season. Like there are people who are already like Jalen Brunson, the best
Fans
Knick
from-
of all
from-
time,
yeah,
and I'm
who-
like,
No,
okay,
that, yeah.
let's,
That's
like,
stretching.
That's just disrespect, you know.
Like,
It's like,
come on,
Patrick
Pat-
Ewing playing
our
for
boy,
this
our boy
team.
Pat Ewing. Like, come on, 2 finals. Come on.
And he's got the supporting cast, I think, to win a championship too.
Yeah.
I don't know
It's like
if
they need that,
Carmelo
like Julius Randle. Like we
Yeah,
have Julius
they
Randle.
are-
They need to get rid of him and get one more piece to replace him.
Yeah,
OG was a great acquisition. RJ and Emmanuel quickly playing. I love those guys. I love they're playing great in Toronto, but they needed to go.
And-
OG has proven himself.
An interesting talking point with this Knicks team too is like as you start to get further and further into the playoffs, one concern that's been brought up, and I don't really buy into it, is that Tibbs is only playing 6-7 guys, and it's like how much of these guys are gonna be able to last? Because you have Dante playing 46 minutes, Josh Hart playing 47, Brunson 45, all these guys 40+.
They're playing almost every minute. of
Yeah,
every game.
and it's like, how much are they going to be able to withstand an entire playoff series? And at the end of the day, a lot of teams don't play that many guys in the playoffs. Most teams are 8 deep, 9.
no, they
if
shorten the
we're-
rotation.
Yeah,
I
shorten
believe the Knicks
rotation.
were 7 deep because
Uh-huh.
from the last
Let me
game,
see.
Mitchell Robinson and Deuce
Hartenstein.
McBride were,
Yeah.
and were the only ones coming off the bench.
Mhm.
It was just like
Plus, Bogdanovich got hurt, so they lost.
and Boyan. Like,
Yeah.
they had an 8-man rotation, and Boyan got
Yeah.
hurt. Now it went down to 7. I'm pretty
yes,
sure.
it was 7 in game 6. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's like it was like they had like that's when the 76ers bench was like torching them. And it showed a statistic like the 76er bench had 37 points and there was no points coming from this Knicks. Then Deuce McBride hit the 3, or Mitchell Robinson got the dunk, and those were the only bench points we had.
Damn. I mean, hey, man, if you get outscored by 0 point, Tobias Harris and Kyle Lowry,
for 9.
the caked up Chris Paul.
Mhm.
Like,
All right, let's do a breakdown of this Knicks Pacers series because I think it's going to be a good one.
That's going to be another fun.
This
series to watch.
isn't a write off that people are making it out to be.
This can go. I'm saying as a hopeful Knicks fan, Knicks in 5. But realistically, I can see it going to 6 in Knicks in 6.
I think it might be 6. I'm not going to make any predictions because I'm awful at these on the show and I always jinx. But I think some people who, like I said earlier, some people who think this is going to be a breeze. I don't think that's the
So
case.
that's the last thing the Knicks need to do: underestimate opponents. Now that
Exactly.
we've had a very good series.
That
most
is
likely
classic
the
Knicks,
people,
though.
most likely the people that are underestimating the Pacers just did not watch them because they don't play on national
It's like they're that
televised
high
show,
octane offense team that honestly, that could be very detrimental. Having to basically run suicides every possession can be
He is the
on a short rotation too.
Yeah.
Is not
Mhm.
good.
I gotta say though, the Knicks were killing Philly in the transition defense, and
Right.
Indiana also has a pretty bad transition defense. I think just from like the games I watched. So I don't know. I think Knicks in 5, but that's just me.
I think it's going to be high scoring.
Yeah.
I have some stats here for the Pacers. 121.0 offensive rating this season. That's second in the league. They shoot 37.4% collectively from 3. That's 9th in the league. You know, they're a fantastic offensive team that just spreads the ball. They're deadly in transition, as you guys said. They have a great head coach, Rick Carlisle, who people forget has won a championship with the Mavericks. However, 118 defensive rating. That's 24th in the league this season. So I'm predicting some really high-scoring games.
Yeah, I think the Pacers are going to struggle to get stops on this Knicks team. The other interesting thing here is Jalen Brunson's playing against his former coach,
Mm-hmm.
Rick Carlisle.
Oh yeah.
And things with Dallas and Brunson didn't end all that well because they
didn't want to
refused-
pay him.
they didn't want to play Brunson. So that's another interesting subplot of this series. I think the Pacers are going to need more out of Tyrese Halliburton in terms of scoring
Mm-hmm.
So he's been kind of quiet in this
to be able
playoffs.
to since his injury. Honestly,
Yeah.
ever since he came back from his injury, he wasn't
Like
the
his
same player.
assist numbers have been consistent.
He hit the
His-
game winner, too, and
Yeah.
I don't remember.
Yeah, he hit the clutch little like mid range jumper
Yeah.
over.
Yeah.
I think it was over.
Beverly?
It was over one.
Beverly
was
fouled him.
behind him.
Yeah.
I think it was Chris in front of him.
Yeah,
But he hit that.
And it's probably going to be Aaron Nesmith guarding Brunson.
probably.
right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
They'll probably
It's like-
they'll probably do what Philly did with Oubre and throw some size at Brunson.
Mm-hmm.
I feel the Knicks defense is going to be I think the Knicks defense is going to be the deciding factor here.
Yeah,
Offensive rebounding as well.
I
Yeah,
could
I
also
got
which
you.
which
Yeah.
the Knicks have no problem with.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And I think with OG, I'm assuming they're going to put OG on Tyrese.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'd say so.
That's honestly the best matchup possible. And then you
Or
put
they might put OG on Siakam. No?
or Siakam. Well, because like
no,
Hartenstein's or Mitchell Robinson's going to be on Miles Turner.
Yeah.
But or they put like, Josh
Because they have
Hart
Siakam and
on.
Turner starting together.
Yeah.
Siakam's the 4 and Turner is the 5.
Because I'm used to him playing center on
Yeah.
the Raptors. He's
Yeah.
been
Siakam was
center
a
for
great
while.
pickup for the
That was that was one of the most. I saw people saying like, "Oh, that's not really going to work. He needs the ball." And it's like, it's been working really well.
Yeah.
For sure.
Do you think he's gonna? I mean, I guess like usually, do you think he's gonna sign with them?
If the way they're performing and he knows what Tyrese can do,
Yeah.
I think he'd be okay with being the number 2 on that team.
Unless like a
Unless
just a
somebody
better team gives them
throws
money,
like an ungodly amount of
Yeah.
money at him. If
Mhm.
like say like Golden State throws something huge at him.
I'd say same thing with like OG and the Knicks. I mean, I think it's more likely he signs
Oh,
for.
yeah.
But I think they both end up signing for their teams, unless like
But I think OG is like especially because he has like a very good record on the team right now. I think I'm before the playoffs he's like 19-2 as a Knick, and I think he likes the city. He likes his teammates, and it's like I think he'll resign.
he'll probably stay unless like someone throws like
And
a
like, and I think
bag at him.
Brunson was like, I think Brunson, if he has to, like, I think he'll be like Dirk and be willing to take a pay cut to give somebody else more money so they can potentially win.
Mm-hmm.
Hopefully. I
In
mean,
the
for
3
Knicks,
games against the Pacers, Brunson has had 39, 40, and 28. That's pretty good.
And those
Points-wise.
assist numbers are probably good too.
Mhm.
What is that one?
It's going to be interesting to see what the Pacers do to get him off his game. You know, they send the double team and ask Josh Hart to beat him like the Sixers did. It's not a bad game plan, but Josh Hart was able to do that.
And Josh Hart, and it was like him and Josh Hart and the defense are going to be the deciding factors. I think
Mm-hmm.
if Josh Hart can provide what he did in the Philly series, I think if they decide to leave him open, I think it'll be a big mistake.
Mm-hmm. The Knicks are favored tonight, 5.5
Mhm.
points. I can't wait. I think this is going to be a really
The-
fun back and forth series.
The one thing that I could see Mitchell Robinson struggling with in the series,
Is
Mhm.
that floor spacing with Turner?
exactly, because Turner's going to want to stretch it out a little bit onto the 3-point line, and it'll be interesting to see how Mitchell Robinson responds to that, because he doesn't do well when it's like the floor stretched out. He's more under the basket.
It's like
around
the Knicks are
rim.
very good at clogging the paint. They're
Yeah,
very good at
that's-
making sure the
But offensively, Pacers play such a different game.
Yeah.
And so it'll be interesting to see how and what Mitch Robinson's able to do this series.
Well, we have 3 more series to kind of preview, but not too much time left. Should we just do some rapid fire?
Predictions?
Yeah. All right.
So where do we want to start?
Let's
finish
go
with the East?
Timberwolves, Nuggets, because it's already underway.
It's already 1-0. So, and Cat and Gobert have been meshing really well in that offense.
Mm-hmm.
Nas Reed has been incredible.
Nas Reed has been another deciding factor.
But the Nuggets can make adjustments.
Yeah,
They really can.
Look, at the end of the day, everyone's like, "Oh, the Nuggets need to worry about this, and that." Like, no, they're championship. They have championship pedigree. They know what they're doing.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not really concerned about the Nuggets going into Game 2. And I predict the Nuggets are going to win tonight.
I think it'll be Nuggets in 7.
I think so too.
I agree.
But
I think this will be their toughest series of the playoffs.
yes.
I don't know. It's going to be interesting with this Murray injury, because if he's not really playing up to his capability, because don't get me wrong, Jokic is an amazing scorer and stuff, but his real superpower, what really makes him amazing,
is his passing.
his facilitating, like of just everyone. He makes everyone on that team better, and I think if you're forcing him to take all the shots, he's not going to have as much time to create.
Like, I feel like this will be like every playoff series is like there's the one series everybody talks about. There's like that always that one really.
Yeah.
Oh, this was
Yep.
NBA basketball.
Mm-hmm.
This will be the tough back and forth 7-game
Yeah.
series that we talk about.
Mm-hmm. All right, Celtics, Cavaliers.
Celtics in 5.
Celtics.
I think Celtics in 4.
All right, cool.
I don't know.
Because like there's not really much to talk about.
Yeah,
No,
no, that's
even-
boring.
They might steal a game if
even-
Donovan Mitchell decides to drop 50 again.
And that's crazy to say because Porzingis is hurt.
And Porzingis is out, and Al
That's right.
Horford's stepping up.
That's right.
I think, and you know what? I hope the Cavs do get swept, because I don't know. I'm still hating on them for purposely losing, man. That's some
For
suckers.
that purposeful
that's,
tank.
yeah.
All right, Mavericks, Thunder.
I believe Thunder in 6.
Thunder, but it wouldn't surprise me if
Mhm.
Dallas was able to.
If Luka pulls some Luka magic and hits all those Hail Mary threes.
I'll say Thunder in 7.
Okay.
Okay.
All right. Well,
And
went
there's
through that pretty quickly.
yeah, there's one more thing I want to talk about. Tonight they are announcing Rookie of the Year.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, really?
Tonight
The
is the
Wemby
rookie,
Award?
the Wemby Award.
That's right.
But I think there's a little bit of conversation, because other than Victor's pure numbers, Chet, like you know how some voters are, they'll be a little bit stupid.
Yeah.
It's going to be closer than probably what
A lot of people
thought,
think.
but,
It's gonna go to Wemby, but you can make an argument for Chet because he's the defensive anchor on the best on the number 1 seed.
Yeah. It was close to start the season,
right.
but then Wemby's numbers just became so granular.
He separated himself
Yeah,
over
he just
time.
separated
There was a
himself.
reason
Okay.
why when we did this prediction, me and Oscar said confidently Wemby, and then when you said Chet, we both get
Yeah.
like weird little
Hey man.
It's like I think it'll be a fun conversation to have, but I do think Wemby is gonna win it.
Yes.
It's
Mhm.
like, but there's a lot more reasons Chet can win it than people
Mhm.
give him credit for.
Okay. Yeah. No, I'm fair with that. I mean, would we be shocked if Chet won it?
Yeah.
Probably.
Yeah.
A little bit.
I would be. Yes.
Because like we have the generational
because
generational
Wemby,
talent.
like the way they're promoting him, the way he's played,
It's
is just
been
otherworldly.
Yeah.
Like,
the alien.
regardless of San Antonio's record, they need to rebuild that roster around him. But he's still a specimen.
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
but it's like it's a fun conversation to have.
Yeah.
All right.
Oh, one thing, I was looking at the Cavs roster, and does Markelle Fultz play on the Cavs?
No, he plays
No,
on
No,
the
he's on the
Magic.
Magic.
Oh, the Magic.
He's
My
injured
bad.
right
I was
now.
looking
He's
at the
injured
series.
right
I was about to say, like, that's one of those moments I like to call. I can't believe you're still in the league.
Mm-hmm.
It's just
now.
like,
It's
oh my god.
when he got to the Magic, he was playing solid on the Magic. It's just
Yeah.
like those injuries, they just keep him out.
Yeah, I forgot about him, man. I forgot he was
It's
the
like,
first.
was a
I
number
like
one pick.
Markelle Fultz.
Yeah.
I like him.
Yeah.
Like he's good. He was the number 1 pick. You got picked over Lonzo, and look at them both. They're both injury prone.
he got picked over Tatum too.
And he got both all
Wait, he was a process pick, right?
He
Yeah.
was
Yeah.
he was the process pick after Ben Simmons.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So back to back.
They got back to back
for,
ones.
Philly.
I did not think we'd end this episode talking about Markelle
We
Fultz.
can talk about something else really quick.
No, we're good.
And they also picked Tobias Harris over Jimmy Butler. But that's another story. for another day.
And now Philly's
So-
monitoring Jimmy's free agency.
Yeah, if I was them, I just wouldn't. Like, I like Jimmy Butler.
If
I
he-
just wouldn't even sign that.
If he
'cause-
goes back, that would be the funniest thing ever.
Yeah. He's like, when I tell you
Tobias Harris over me, and then comes back in a Philly jersey.
I think that's got to be one of
And
the worst.
they get rid of
like,
Tobias Harris.
That's I know it's not like a sign.
like that's got to be one of the worst decisions in like recent NBA history.
Mm-hmm.
All right, let's start
Especially that
ourselves.
giant contract.
Yeah.
All right. Well, it's going to be a really fun second round. Thank you guys so much for tuning in. We'll see you next time.
We'd never choose Tobias Harris over you.